Now, I think that it's pretty safe to say at this point in time that the Walt Disney Company and all of their divisions are falling into an endless vicious cycle, not just due to Bob Iger's lack of leadership skills and the board of directors with their overall decision making, but it also has a lot to do with the weed of it all, or should I say the root of everything here, such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, the top three shareholders running the show over at Disney that are funding everything due to DEI and ESG nonsense getting spilled into everything Star Wars, Marvel, and more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, Rachel Zegler, we know that she is heavily involved in the upcoming Snow White 2025 film. This has been an ongoing drama piece with Disney and everything going along with it. Constant reshoots, re-edits, and even, of course, alterations being made to the script time and time again that has been frustrating director Mark Webb. Now, there's been a lot of things happening with Snow White. Alright, we know that the CGI dwarfs that we all saw a couple of months ago getting shoehorned into this story look absolutely ridiculous, let's be real about that. But focusing on Zegler and what kind of problems have been happening behind the scenes have only gotten worse in recent times, let's discuss. Now, one thing about Bob Iger is that we know that he makes one bad call after the other. I mean, this is pretty much common knowledge at this point, that he doesn't really know what to do with the live-action remakes or the live-action adaptation films from the animated classics, and how to really properly put those at the forefront for everything related to Disney live-action. Now, with that being said, with the Walt Disney Company holding multiple emergency meetings every single month over the direction of everything Marvel, Star Wars, and the Disney live-action remakes, one major development now has much to do with actress Rachel Zegler and how tensions have been seriously rising behind the scenes of the show for Snow White 2025 that is still slated to release in March. Now, one significant update to this situation now involves how after a recent failed test screening for Snow White occurred specifically for the ending of the film that is now getting re-edited completely under the supervision from director Mark Webb, which is reportedly resulting in a significant loss in screen time for Rachel Zegler as Snow White and some of the flashback scenes to the character's childhood, along with scenes featuring Snow White fighting the evil queen with a sword. Now, Rachel Zegler is already taking things up with director Mark Webb, where she went on a recent rampage behind the scenes after reshoots were applied to the film not that long ago to fix the ending. Now, Zegler reportedly is not happy with the ending of the film and believes it is going to break her career essentially, and will be the final nail in the coffin for herself as an actress. Now, the specifics of this is that Disney decided to cut out an entire sequence also that featured Zegler kissing the seven dwarfs on their foreheads, where Disney, of course, and Zegler believed that would be offensive in the end to the audience, and that was too forward to put in the film. Zegler reportedly claims that Disney chose scenes in which the bad acting takes were used for the final act of the film, toward the last few minutes of the movie, specifically the battle between the evil queen and Snow White as well as Jonathan, the new prince. There is a scene in which Jonathan, who is the new prince, helps Zegler's Snow White and protects her. Zegler, however, was reportedly promised that this scene would not enter into the final cut, and is already demanding that this scene to be cut out of the film since she wants this film to be 100% a feminist-driven film, where she does not need a man to help her out in the final act, as initially promised by director Mark Webb and Greta Gerwig, the writer of the film. Now, this is not to be confused with Disney wanting to dial back on their agenda, but rather to reduce the amount of scenes that would require heavy CGI and animators to take part in the film as it ramps up post-production yet again. Bob Iger and the board have also been discussing about delaying the film yet again from March until June of next year, and those conversations are still happening to this day. Now, Iger believes that Snow White is too close to Captain America 4's release. These discussions were provided to those like Mark Webb, Rachel Zegler, Greta Gerwig, etc., about a potential delay, and this is also something that Zegler is angry about. It even got to a point where Disney is in the process of excluding Zegler again from the world premiere of Snow White to protect their PR for the film and to also have a smooth marketing campaign for the film with no risk of another weird moment by Rachel Zegler. Now guys, let me say one thing before I move on about all of this. Now, interestingly enough, we know that pretty much all of the live-action remakes that are being made right now by Disney have a lot of problems going along with it. I mean, we all saw what happened with Little Mermaid, we all saw what they did with Tinkerbell, we all saw what they're doing now with Snow White. They are so obsessed with the concept of race swapping to the point where the agenda could not be any more obvious. It is 100% deliberate. It's not like it's a one-off, you know, here and there. We have all these characters getting swapped, and to the point where it's just getting really ridiculous by Bob Iger and the board. It's exactly why people have been walking away from Disney in general, alright? Now, if they want to do something like that, fine, you know, make a new character that's similar in a sense. If they want to do things that way, that's fine. Make a similar character that can, you know, be something of its own. That's what they should do if they want to do something original. But when you tamper with already established characters that people grew up with, that people know very well in pop culture, that's when you run into problems. And so Zegler, alright, has a lot of issues with this movie's production. Now look, Snow White 2025, it was supposed to come out in March of this year, and this thing wrapped up filming back in 2022. Let that sink in for a moment. They finished filming back in 2022, to be specific in July of 22, and it's still going under a lot of problems, and there's a quite possible delay until June. That is embarrassing. So moving onwards, on top of that, more reshoots of the film are also underway, and Zegler is not happy about it. She is fighting to take part, or to not take part, in providing more work to the Disney heads. So far, Snow White 25 is one big mess, full of editing errors, continuity problems, and even the lack of flowing story to keep the audience in the theater seats. Now look, there's been multiple test screenings of this movie. They've been failing one after the other, similar to what's been going on with Captain America 4. That's why there also was so many different, things getting rearranged. A lot of alterations and revisions being applied to the script and the story. And at the same exact time, this is exactly why I say the beginning of 2025 is going to be a very big mess for Disney. You got Cap 4 and you got Snow White. Alright, Cap 4 I believe comes out in February. Snow White is in the following month. That's not a good start for 2025 at all, and Bob Iger knows it, we know it, and especially the board of directors know it as well. So, I would really love to hear what everyone has to say about what's been going on with the Disney live-action remakes. We know that the Moana live-action 2026 film is also going under a lot of pressure as we speak, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's a lot of back-and-forth scenarios happening there, but overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Rachel Zegler, Snow White 2025, etc., etc. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.